14 or you worked for the Star?
No,
No,
did not work for the Star.
which?
No, I left the Star in 2014.
Yeah, I know that, but who do you
I'm not
who do
going
the
back
Colts
to.
thing with?
It's with the Sports Exchange. It's you don't have to mention it if you don't want to. It's just
I want to cover your
well, they haven't paid me a dime, so I think it's a 1 season and done deal because I'm not happy. So I'm not happy, but I still do it because I like covering the team and keep me busy. But yeah, it's a website. I can mention the website on here, but it's Sports Exchange. It's a wire service, and I do a Colts website. I run a Colts website.
At some point, I'm going to bring that lady sitting over there with the white hair guy.
2,
Okay.
1, Don, you're up.
Welcome to the Autosportradio.com 2018 show. I'm your host, Don Kay. We are live from McGilvery Speedway, 30th and High School in the beautiful town of Speedway, Indiana. Tonight's show is presented by Honda and Honda HPD, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Verizon IndyCar Series, and SVRA. I want to remind you, as we heard last week with Dave going on and on, the exhibit changes on October 5th, and it will be the Hoosier Thunder. It's an Indiana short track heritage. You're going to see all kinds of cars and drivers and from days gone by. So if you haven't get a chance, or when you get a chance, you got to get over to the Hoosier Thunder exhibit at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum. I want to remind you, because I know I'm not the only dummy in the room, at least I hope not anyway, that has trouble with a computer. I have trouble with computers constantly. So now I do what I've been doing for the last couple of years, go see Jack at Computer Overdrive. They're located at the northeast corner of Crawfordsville Road and Lyndhurst. And I can tell you that you have a problem, you tell him about the problem, he can fix it. So give him a call, talk to him, see what he can do for you. Tell him the problem. He'll take care of it for you. His number is 317-328-0766. And if you've seen any of these drone races that are going on, that's amazing. You go back to the back of the room, see Mark, and he can tell you all there is to know about drones. And if you want to find out what the IndyCar Series and the Mazda Road to Indy program are doing, even now, the teams are putting out PR. You got to go to tracksideonline.com and subscribe. It's a great service. They tell you everything that's going on. You'll see all the PR stuff from the various teams and what they're doing, and you'll also keep up to date with the Road to Indy program. And of course, we from time to time have our favorite doctor visit. It's a dentist. Everybody just loves that. They line up at the door. If you have a problem, I highly, highly recommend the Indy Dental Group. Dr. Jack Miller and Dr. Liz Lewis, his wife, have got a phenomenal practice. And if you need anything done, you can go there and they will take care of it. To make an appointment, number is 317-846-6125. And this Saturday, starting at 2 o'clock, is McGilvery's Boo Bash. It's the Halloween party. And there's a cornhole contest tournament that starts, I guess, at 2 o'clock. It's $10 a person or $15 a team for the contest, and all proceeds are donated to St. Jude's, and McGilvery's will match the proceeds 100%. So that's Saturday the 24th at 2 o'clock. You got to come here, and at 8 o'clock they'll have live entertainment, The Cosmic Situation, and there are prizes for the best costume. So come dressed up, come ready for a good time at McGilvery's. It's Halloween time. And if you don't have a costume, then the best thing to do is go to the Grand King Race Shops at 8155 Crawfordsville Road. There is speaker series commences once again. It's open mic night, and they're going to have such guys as Johnny Parsons, Steve Stapp, Gary Irwin, some guy by the name of Martin. I don't know where they found him. John Martin, Eldon Rasmussen, Roy Crothers, and there'll be several other drivers there. It's $25, and if you want to come down, I highly recommend it. And their next speaker series will be November 10th, and the guests are a secret, probably because they don't know either. But anyway, this Saturday, the 27th, speaker series at the Grand King Shops, 8155 Crawfordsville Road. Stop in, you'll love it. Always have a good time. Bill has everything under control, and Fluffy does the best she can to help him. If you are an NFL fan and your team isn't playing on a Sunday, come to McGilvery's. They got NFL full access. They got all the games, and you can see them on one of their 10 or 12 televisions they'll put the game on for you. So if you want to see a team, your favorite team, you can't get it here locally, McGilvery's will have it for you. And the Grant King shops did 50 some hours of interviews with mechanics, drivers, guys that worked for Grant King over the years, and they have it on YouTube. It's available, and you'll be interested to see that some of the guys that you say, oh really, they didn't like Grant, but not everybody did like him. Everybody who was anybody in the world of IndyCar racing at one time or another worked for Grant King. Grant was a phenomenal guy. I was privileged to know him for a number of years. Used to stop by his office and just shoot the breeze with him and learned all kinds of interesting things. But you can go to youtube.com and put in Grant King Racers, and it's available. You can see all kinds of these interviews and subscribe to it. It doesn't cost you anything to subscribe, but once you're subscribed, you can see the updated videos, and they get credit for your subscription. So, and they're changing them every week. So go there, youtube.com, Grant King Racers, and watch and then subscribe, and you get to see all the stuff that's going on. Very interesting. And before you leave, if anybody's interested in going to the Christmas Gift and Hobby Show, see me after the program. It's at the State Fairgrounds from the 7th to the 11th of November. I have a few tickets left. I think I just have less. Oh, and I have 2 pair here tonight. So stop up and see me. My first guest is a gentleman that he's ashamed to say that I've known him for a long time. He is spent 20-some years with the Indy Star, and then he moved on from there and went to Sports Media Network, and then somehow, some way, somebody slipped up, and he's now working for IMS.com and the Verizon IndyCar Series. You want to read what he writes, it's excellent stuff, good stuff, very intriguing, very good, an excellent writer. But what's always bothered me is you work with a pen. You should be a linebacker someplace. But instead you got a pen and a piece of paper. I don't understand it. You've seen him, you've heard him, you've read him. Please welcome Mr. Philip B. Wilson.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. I just found out that the special tonight is shepherd's pie, so let's get this thing going because I'm going to order some shepherd's pie when we're done.
What in
You
the
like
world?
shepherd's pie?
Yes, but why is Howdy? Is he buying? Is that why he's going like this?
Howdy was like, yeah, Howdy wanted me to know he's here. He's the only person that knows me other than you. You know? I mean, we already had 2 hotties leave. They were sitting over here, and they saw me sit down. They go, no, I'm not going to listen to this guy's crap. I'm out of here. I could see him, too. He's like, no, I'm gone. Not even your handsome looks could keep him here.
My who?
Not even your handsome looks could keep him here.
Speaking of handsome, we have a lovely lady who's going to come up near the end of the program. I got a story to tell I think you'll find interesting. But in the
Really?
meantime,
Excellent.
Yeah, you went to Bowling Green University. You graduated
I
even.
did. Bowling Green State University in Ohio, Northwest Ohio. Some people say, Kentucky? No, I didn't go to Kentucky. I went to Bowling Green, Ohio.
Which is the oldest school, Bowling Green, Kentucky, or Ohio?
I have no idea. The Western Kentucky's in Bowling Green. I only know that because people ask me if I went to Kentucky. I'm like, no.
Oh, okay.
No.
And what did you major in?
Journalism.
Did you play? Were you on the athletic teams?
I played intramurals, but nothing. I wasn't good enough. I was decent size, and I had some. For a big guy, I could move fast, and I was pretty strong. I could squat 525 pounds, but you get to college, I mean, these guys are, it's just a whole different level. So.
Plus, you didn't want to get a concussion and end your career early.
What? Huh?
Oh, yeah.
What?
Huh?
Yeah, I just banged my head into my laptop instead. Yeah. I realized in high school that as much as I love sports, I didn't see myself having that future. At some point, you have that what come to God moment or whatever, where you just realize I ain't gonna be good enough, you know. And but I love sports, so I decided to write about it was the next best thing.
Was your first job after graduation with the Indy Star?
No, I had to pay my dues. I worked for a bunch of small newspapers in Ohio. Took a job in West Virginia. Got divorced in West Virginia. Yeah, West Virginia was hard on me. Beautiful country, though. Lots of open spaces to go and contemplate life and why she left me and why she cheated on me. But other than that, I mean, you know, I'm over it, really. It's been so many years ago. I mean, I'm not dwelling on it or anything, What's the running joke that I always say? My wife fell in love with my banker, and I got stuck with a substantial penalty for early withdrawal. Yeah, but yeah, a lot of small papers. You pay your dues, and then I came over here. My dad lived in Danville at the time. He's since passed away from cancer, but my dad brought me to my first 500 when Johnny Rutherford won in the Yellow Submarine, the Pennzoil Chaparral. What year was that, Howdy?
77.
Was it? Well, come on. I figured you're more of an expert than I am. Was it 80? Was it 80? Yeah. So I'm 15 years old, and I'd never seen it before, and I'd been stick and ball guy up until that point, and you just remember watching the cars, and then you remember going home that night and putting your head in the pillow, and you can still hear the cars going around in your head. I mean, just that sound and fury. So I was hooked at an early age, and I had the privilege and joy of going to the track with my old man many times before he passed away, and that was kind of my first love. I've covered the Colts for a long time, wrote a Colts book, but I piss Colts fans off when I tell them that my first love was racing, and my favorite month out of the year is May. That's when the adrenaline kicks in, and I'm just jacked up beyond belief. And I always look forward to the 500. It's the race. It's the only race.
Yeah, but you've traveled since you've come to work at IMS and IndyCar.
Oh,
You've been traveling more than usual.
Yeah, this last year IndyCar sent me I went to Mid-Ohio again. I always go to Mid-Ohio. It's a short drive, but I also went to Pocono for the first time, went to Portland for the first time. So I have seen some tracks, been to Phoenix, Road America. There's some ones I haven't gone to yet I'd like to go to just to see, but they shuffle me around, and I kind of see how other races work, but just between me and you and everybody here, still, it's May. It's May. It's a 500,
Well,
baby.
it's kind of hard not to say that when it is reported or the biggest single-day sporting event in the world.
Yeah, and I've done 24 of those bad boys. So when you cover 24 500s, it's in your blood. It's just there's never a bad day on those 24.
Do you know why I'm still here? I started in '63.
You started in '63.
My first time I came
2 years
here.
before I was born.
That's terrible. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Am I that old? I guess I must be.
You're seasoned.
Yeah, seasoned,
You're
all right.
seasoned.
Who's harder to interview, a professional football player or an IndyCar driver?
Without question, football players. Most of the IndyCar drivers, I've seen the biggest change I've seen in the last decade is they understand the need to promote their sport. They understand the need to be fan friendly. Autograph signings, interacting with fans, stopping to sign. When someone doesn't sign or they're abrasive, i.e. if you catch Juan Pablo Montoya at the wrong moment, right? You're like, what the hell's wrong with him? No, it's just Juan. That's the way he is sometimes. But most of the guys understand, they get it. I always think of Dan Weldon. I miss Dan, and we all miss Dan. But there was a couple times where he was absolutely out of his head, ticked off, and my recorder went on, and the light was on, and he'd flip a switch, and he was magic, and he said the right things, and he didn't go off like he wanted to, and then we'd shut the recorder off, and he'd bitch and bellyache, and I can't believe this, and then he'd walk out there and greet the fans and smile and have. Most of these guys can get that, and so you see a Scott Dixon, and I just wrote a story a little while ago about how he won his 5th championship, and everybody knows him as a cool guy, the Iceman, and really nice guy, but the stuff he does off the track,
I think we described him. I used the words of one of his crews said he's got a heart of gold, and so I enjoy the fact that they appreciate what it's about. Whereas NFL guys, I got to go in that locker room tomorrow with the Colts, and you don't know what you're going to get sometimes. I mean, Andrew's always good. Andrew will always talk on Wednesdays, and he's a fairly chatty guy and friendly. But some guys, they're not in the mood to talk, and some guys, you walk up to them and, what are you doing invading my space there, fat ass? I don't want you over here bothering me, It's like, I just need a couple minutes, please, if that's okay. And I got a video camera to boot, so that makes him even more antsy. He has this video camera, you're shooting. Yeah, could you put some pants on? Or, yeah, if you want to put a shirt on, yeah. And we're not shooting nipples, please. Put a shirt on. I mean, really. Okay? And some guys are proud, because these athletes are young and they're attractive bodies, and they'll be like, it's like, okay, stop it. I don't get any of that from IndyCar drivers.
Well, they got a fire suit on.
Yeah, they got fire suits on, but all the years I've interviewed those guys, I've probably count on one hand how many times I had a lousy interview with an IndyCar driver. I have countless bad interviews with football players every year, and it's not because something I said. It's just they're they're a different breed.
Do you cover the Pacers at all?
Hey, I have. I did some stringer work for. I ran a website for a while when I was working for Scout, but work for Associated Press every now and then. I've gotten to cover this team last year a little bit. Victor Oladipo, really nice kid. I love the fact that they have a star player who doesn't have an ego the size of some of the other star players they've had before. He really seems like a guy who just wants to work hard and do well and win, but just not get too full of himself when doing it. It's all about the team, and it's a good group of guys. When I was there last year, David Benner, their longtime PR guy, told me it was one of the best teams he's ever dealt with, just because of the way the guys are. So, and that's not normal either, because I can take you back 2 years, and I know a couple guys in that room. Again, you just walk up to them, you don't know what you're going to get. There's just a lot of attitude, a lot of ego. And boy, God help you if you had to ask them why they missed a shot. Or, hey, Monte Ellis, you were 2 of 13. If you don't mind me asking, why in the hell did you keep shooting? You couldn't hit the broadside of a barn tonight, but you kept shooting the ball. What the hell are you doing? I wouldn't probably ask him like that.
Good idea.
You try and ease into it. Rough shooting night tonight, huh? You give that look like this interview's over before it begins.
Did you do, in college when you were at Bowling Green, did you take broadcasting stuff, or did you study writing and how to write and how to be a writer?
Well, I got a journalism degree. It's ironic because I had an advisor who really wanted me to go into TV. He said I had the voice and I had the personality. I know these people here haven't seen that yet, but some people have found me entertaining. If my wife were here tonight, she'd say, "Don't laugh at him, don't encourage him. Just don't stop it, Honey, they love me. They think I'm funny. Really? No, they don't. They're just being nice to you. They don't really think you're funny, really. But ironically, I didn't respect people on TV enough. I thought they were short-sighted. I thought they were trying to fool the public into I know more than I do. I thought there was more merit to the written word. I thought reporters who have to write it have to know it better, and we ask the questions and we get our noses dirty, and I just felt like that was more. It's ironic because years later I've been on TV lots of times. I was on with Dan Patrick one time. I was on with Bob Lee and ESPN, and was on Fox 59 for a long time. And I still had the chops and the, you just, you're a little bit of a different character I am, but you never know what I'm going to say. And as long as I don't say too many curse words, I figure I'm okay, but sometimes you get a little wild and woolly, and I try and tone it down because I don't want to, get you in trouble. But you come to respect. They have a job to do, just like I have a job to do, and I don't regret the decision I made. But I kind of enjoy. I still enjoy the written word. I still enjoy a good story. And you guys are like, "What's a good story?" You're boring me, right? I'll give you a good story, okay? Let me go on a tangent here. Good story tangent number 1. And I haven't shared this yet with people, but it's one of the more meaningful stories. And every now and then you get one that you sink your teeth into, and you don't forget it, and it stays with you. And that's what makes it special for me. 2 years ago in May, as is always the routine, I make my rounds around Gasoline Alley, and people will come up to me and they'll tell me stuff because I know the yellow shirts, the safety patrol people, I know the crew, I know PR people. So when you've done the 500 so many years, they give you these ideas. Now, 9 out of 10 times, okay, yeah, 70-year-old in a two-seater ride, got it, yeah, okay, fine, whatever. But they told me about this guy, a yellow shirt, who worked in the South Pits, named Ken DeLion. And Ken had been there for so many odd years. He would take his vacation from working at some grocery store, produce or whatever, up in Lafayette. He'd take his vacation every year to work at the track. Ken was stage 4 colon cancer. And so I don't know if you all know how bad that is, but I unfortunately had a cousin who died from that in his mid-50s, and if you're stage 4, you've got about a 10% chance of making it 2 years with that. John Andretti has stage 4 colon cancer right now. Anyway, so I get to interview Ken, and I know the background on the disease. I got a brother's a doctor. I got a wife's a pharmacist. I got my cousin died from the disease, and I said, Ken, do you know what you're up against? He had it for about a year and a half. And he told me, I don't have time to worry about it. If my time is limited, why do I want to waste any of my days thinking about it? It's probably the first time in my life that I started a story with a joke, a straight-out joke. Here's a man who's dying, and his story starts off with a joke that he tells me. He said, the doctor told me I had 3 months to live. And I told the doctor, I said, Doc, I can't pay you what I owe you in 3 months. And the doctor said, well, I'll give you another 3 months. I mean, and I'm blown away. I can't believe this man is making light of his situation, making light of his plight. And so we're sitting there talking. We become good friends. I took a bunch of pictures of him. John Andretti had just announced that May that he had had the disease. And he said, boy, I'd like to talk to John. I know what he's going to go through because I've been through it. Well, I talked to my people at the Speedway and got connected, and damned if we didn't hook it up. We found out when John was going to be there, and we got a golf cart, ran down to the south end of the pits 2 days later. Come on, Ken, you're coming with us. I mean, it's all he could do to just get through a week. He didn't come to the first week. He was just trying to get through the last week. And took him up there to the suites, and there's John Andretti and Ken DeLion sharing laughs, gallows humor. My chemo port's over here, and it's like this, and they're just comparing all these things about chemotherapy. And it cracked me up to listen to them joke and talk. It was a great wrap to the story. A really interesting and I think meaningful story for Ken became that much better to see John interact with him. As fate would have it, the end game here. Ken died about a month and a half after the story ran, after the race. His wife texted me and asked me about pictures, so I sent her several shots of Ken that I took, including one where he's laughing at a joke that John Andretti said. And that was in his funeral montage, and so every now and then you get a story like that, And it's not about me, folks, but it's about sharing it with the public. And I'm damn proud that I sent Ken DeLine out, with a hell of a story,
I came to you this past May, very cautiously, as I always approach you, very cautiously.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get with me.
And I said, I've got a lady here you might want to talk to. And you said, oh, yeah, who's that?
Yeah, I got excited. A lady? I can talk to a lady? Really?
Yeah. And I said, she's been coming here. This is her 70th race, and she's missed a few in between, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Would you like to talk to her? And you said, yeah, sure. So you two sat down. You put out a phenomenal story on Nancy. It was just,
Nancy.
what's her name?
I was going to ask you. I remember interviewing her. She was married to, huh?
Yeah, Nancy Hanks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, jeez. Yeah, I can tell you about Ken, but I don't remember. I remember talking to Nancy because she was feisty. She really
They
is.
sat down in the.
He sat there and watched us carry on like you wouldn't believe, and she was frisky and fun and
she's only what, 94, I think.
I just older than I'll ever be. I mean, and still, I'm still with it.
Oh yeah. Oh, she's just something else.
That
But
was a fun story because she told me about how much it meant, even with Sam gone. Every time she came back, how she was treated here, and how the Speedway was her second home.
Right.
We think of the drivers, we don't think of their spouses, and she'd say she didn't even stay for the race.
No.
It's just to come back every May and be received the way she's received. She had on the winner's ring and everything. Very proud of that. Showed it to me. That was a fun little interview. I love talking to older people because they got great stories. You just got to trigger a memory and they'll tell you something, and she starts spinning a yarn about something in the 60s or 70s or whatever, and you're like, wow, cool.
Some of her stories were in the 50s.
Yeah, actually, we did. We went farther back than that. Yeah. Yeah, I remember she said and I don't know if they kept it in the story or not, but I guess when Sam got her she was in New York or something, and Sam talked her into coming out to the 500 to watch. He wasn't driving that year, I guess. And it was early on. So it was like a first date, or they'd been dating, but it was for their first 500 together. And a driver got killed right in front of her. And she said, I really didn't like racing very much the first time I watched it. I don't know if they left that in the story or not, but she told me that. But obviously over time, and of course with Sam winning, and just appreciation for being here, and then for it to for such a tough initiation, and she's looking forward to coming back every year. That was cool. I enjoyed talking to her. I don't know if she enjoyed talking to me. She seemed like she did.
She did.
But you said it was a good story?
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, if you say so.
Now,
I hope so.
If you want to read these stories, his work is published on IMS.com or IndyCar.com. You can find the stories he writes. I think they're outstanding.
You can do a Google search and just type in name and my name or the subject's name, and it'll usually come up, even if it's 6 months ago, which with her it was in May.
In May, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a good story.
What do we got here? Reuben?
Look at this.
Chicken
Holy
salad? Okay. Anybody got the shepherd's pie yet? How is it? Howdy? All right. Shepherd's pie.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Let's keep an eye on Howdy, see if he falls out of his chair.
Yeah, it's like howdy.
Our girl will take care of him if he does.
That's it. Thanks for reminding me of that, because that was, again, you have these stories every May that you kind of you get excited about.
You write a lot.
Yeah, and you just, but they're more than just stories. They're just, you kind of connect with someone and you share their life story a little bit, but what a sweet lady, and God, 90, whatever the hell she is. And
94, I think.
I'm telling you guys, I mean, I hope I have that kind of spunk when I'm in my 70s if I make it that far. Spunk, yeah.
That's good. Let's keep it at spunk.
Spunk, yeah.
I got to take a quick break, and I want to mention that today is a very special day in the town of Speedway. Janine Smith is having her birthday today.
Yeah.
So
Happy birthday to you.
yeah, and of course Kenny went out of his way, got her a nice birthday. Oh, it's not there. You didn't bring it. You didn't have it sent here. Okay, never mind. But I didn't want to go by and not mention it's your birthday, and it's probably your 15th anniversary of your 21st birthday. Yeah, a young kid.
Yeah.
You know, the first time that I had Mark Miles after he took over the job as CEO of Holman and Company and IndyCar and so forth, he was a guest here, and he'll be here in a couple of weeks, by the way, as of now. And I said, do you have any plan, do you see any sight of using the Speedway for something other than the 500 and the NASCAR race? No, not really. No.
Really?
Well, obviously that didn't last long.
Yeah, that changed, didn't it?
And Formula One came in, which was, I believe, before him, but it was strictly racing. Then he changed, and things changed, and they brought in bands and world-class entertainment. And this was the third year of the Red Bull Air Race.
Yes. You maybe go out there and see the planes?
Yeah.
Anybody?
And I had a lot of people say, well, how many to race at once? One. Why? How many planes do you think you can race? I mean, they do have an air race where it's just around an oval out somewhere in a desert. But this year, they had a 4-time winner as a Grand Marshal, A.J. Foyt.
Yes, it did.
And I have a feeling you managed to weasel your way in and interview A.J.
Of course I did. You guys want to hear some great A.J. Foyt quotes?
Yes.
All right. I thought about this. I'm like driving here. I'm like, okay, as much as I think I'm funny and I can just, freewheel it, I got to have something to give you guys. So it was probably one of the best interviews I ever had with A.J. Foyt. He came as the Grand Marshal and he met Kirby Chambliss, the American pilot, and then we came back to the media center, and we were sitting there just in the lobby before we went upstairs, and he starts running down all the stuff that's happened to him, all the health problems he's had, and fighting off bees, and the staph infections and all this crap. I mean, it's funny because the lead of the story, he's endured a continual series of serious health issues in recent years. A.J. Foyt is as feisty as ever. So the quotes I bring your attention to, some context on some of these. Anyway.
Now, there's ladies here, remember
There
that.
are ladies here. The guy's 83 years old, okay? And get a little backstory. We all know he's the first 4-time winner, all-time IndyCar wins leader, legend, Hall of Famer, all this. All right, so he had back surgery in July, okay? Then he had to recover from a staph infection after that back surgery. He's already had 2 staph infections before that. He's had 2 heart surgeries, including being in an induced coma in 2014 after a triple bypass. And then he's had 3 knee replacements. So when you say health problems, I mean, this guy, AJ says, the older you get, the more time you spend with doctors. I hate to go to doctors because they always find something. I guess I'm still lucky to be here. And it just right off the bat, he's got me. Because, I mean, he says just, when he doesn't want to talk, he won't be like that descriptive. And I just knew it's one of those rare moments where he's just going to shoot from the cuff. And it's all AJ all the time, So, anyway, he says, I feel pretty good. I'm getting better every day. It's been a long road. It's really been a long road. I got to go back to the doctor on Wednesday, the infection doctor. They got me on so much antibiotic, I don't know how I could catch anything anymore. He's just cutting it up, I'm like, okay. And I grew up an AJ fan, so I'm like, come on, I just want to hear more. I don't care what he says, just some more. So, anyway, I asked him about the killer bees things. He had a fight with the killer bees in 2005, right? Well, he had another one in March where he got stung about 200 times. And and he killed the bees by setting them on fire. All right, AJ was not going to let these bees get the better of him. So anyway, he says the EPA probably didn't like me using diesel fuel, but I wasn't going to use no soap and water. He's bragging about using the fuel on him to kill him. So I guess they had like 80,000 of those bees where he lived again, and one of his buddies told him, I think they're following you around, and he's telling me about that. So anyway, talks about being back here, what it means, and all that good stuff. It's always fun to talk about Indianapolis, what it means to him. But again, he's in that pistol mode, right? So he says, I've lived here in Indianapolis probably as much as Texas. It's just something you look forward to and try to live to go back every year. I'll be coming back every year until they plant me. I mean, you just can't. It's like, when you're a writer, all you got to do is get out of the way. Just let the words do the work. And so, anyway, we finished it. The interview and the last quote that I used, kind of a perspective quote. And this is, if I can ever find a good perspective quote to finish the story, you kind of think in journalism like you want the reader to finish with something like this. Just makes it all. And if you don't read another thing, or if you don't read another story about him, you want that quote to mean that. And I got lucky because AJ again was so good this day. He gave me a perfect perspective quote, and when he said it, I knew it instantly. I've done this long enough. This is my close quote. I've had a lot of fun over the years, he said. Talking to you now, if I fell dead, I've had a wonderful life. What more do you want? I mean, that's AJ Foyt, baby. So that's the story I wrote about him here, last month during the Red Bull Air Race.
I know he's likes airplanes.
He does.
Yeah.
He said he used to fly them himself all the time.
Right.
So, but when they asked if he wanted a two-seater, I said, no, I'm chicken. And I said, you're not chicken. He said, well, I just told him that.
Yeah, it's probably the same reason I wouldn't get in a car. You couldn't get in it.
Yeah.
Or if you get in, you can't get out.
Well, yeah, a little bit of room. Yep.
But, and he'll be the first one to tell you, the Indianapolis 500 made A.J. Foyt what he is, and he'll tell you that.
That was one of the quotes I didn't read.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when he starts speaking third person about himself, Indianapolis Motor Speedway made A.J. Foyt. I think I've used that quote I don't know how many times. It's in the middle of the story, but yeah.
He doesn't take credit for putting the Speedway here. The Speedway put him. What the hell is
What do we have here?
Howdy's sharing his.
Howdy! Shepherd's pie early. I promise I'll stay devoted to the show, and I won't eat in front of them.
You can.
No, it's okay. I gotta
Give him the bill, though.
What time is it?
I know what he's doing. He's sending the bill here.
Well, what time is it right now?
Almost 2:45.
7:45.
Yeah.
So I gotta find something better. I don't know if I have anything better than AJ Foyt. Ken
got
DeLay
me.
and AJ Foyt.
You
We got 15 more minutes. I gotta
No,
find.
I've got a young lady I'm going to talk to.
Oh well, that's better than me.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, this is a completely different story.
Oh, well, hey, I'm all for it. I mean, that means
Speaking of
I'll
your
be into
shepherd
that
pie,
quicker.
speaking of your shepherd's pie,
Yeah.
have you taken a two-seater ride?
I have not. I think there are weight restrictions, so I have to lose some weight to do that. I was actually out there a week ago Friday with a buddy who got his second two-seater ride in as many years and shot video of him, and I'm going to give it to him as a keepsake. And I think it'd be fun, but yeah, I'd have to lose about 20 pounds, maybe 25 pounds to get down to about 275
I
to.
don't know.
Yeah, plus, I don't know. I'd have to waive. Well, of course, I waive all liability when I show up. So, I'm an employee. So, but I got in a pace car ride once with Bob Walters when he was working for the Speedway, and Bob only got like 100 or 110, and I'm telling him to go faster, and it was still pretty cool to be out on the track. And when you're out there and you're going even 110, it looks a lot more narrow than than what we see. I mean, it looks like that's when you're out there, and that, or when you're inside that pit wall, that canoe there in between the pit road and the track.
Yeah, that's where they used to have the boards before.
Yeah, when you have the boards. And
radio.
when you go out there for during a practice, and the car goes by at full speed, and that's when you kind of these guys are crazy. It's crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. You see them come by, you just think it's unbelievable. That's as much of a thrill as you can have, I think, even more than the pace car ride. Just hearing them go by that close. I've done that a few times. That's kind of cool.
Well, I think you and I should go on a diet so we
Yeah?
can get in the car and go for a ride.
After I have my share of shepherd's
after
pie.
Shepherd's pie, yeah.
Yeah, shepherd's pie first.
Well, I'll tell you what. I am a fan of yours. I've been reading you
Thank
ever
you.
since I
Thank
got
you.
here.
Thank you, sir.
I noticed that you can spell correctly. Your grammar
Every
is
now
quite
and then,
good.
I try. I did say ain't earlier.
Oh, well.
That was me trying to connect to the public.
Yeah.
Ain't.
And I saw Howdy kind of sputter on his
Yeah.
shepherd's pie. Went, "Pfft." What did
Yeah.
he say?
Shepherd's pie. Yeah.
I appreciate you coming here again.
Time flew. That went fast.
And again, they can find you on the internet where?
IMS.com and IndyCar.com. I got a couple stories that'll be coming out on IndyCar.com probably the next week. One on Alexander Rossi, how he works out with Scott Dixon, and they're fiends, they're maniacs on this ski erg machine. It's like a simulated skiing motion, and they team up and they go 10,000 meters or whatever, and they kill each other on this machine, but they're so competitive. So I got this story on how he has a newer appreciation for what it takes to be a Scott Dixon by watching how hard Scott Dixon works out in the off season.
Were you up at PitFit?
I have not been to PitFit, but
Wow.
I called Jim Leo up, and he told me to come over. I'm like, yeah, right. I'd die on that machine.
Well, I've
you
been
put a
there.
plaque on the wall. Philip B. tried, and it'd be right there. He tried to get on the skiing machine. I tried to ski for real once in real life, and you remember the old Scooby-Doo cartoons where the snowball comes down the hill and gets larger, and all you see is the skis and the dog head? That was me trying to go down the slow hill. I'm terrible. The other story is on Sarah Fisher and Andy O'Gara saving the Whiteland go-kart track, and I interviewed them, and they're going to they want to get a photo of them out there, but just a little bit about what it meant to keep that place going, and
they have completely turned the place around.
Yeah,
you
they've
drive out there and pull in, you won't recognize it.
and they've got a lot of plans for the off season. They're going to build some garages. They got some new go-karts on order from Italy. I think they said a fleet of them that they're going to have for people.
The new ones are going to this indoor karting center, and the ones that they're there.
Oh, is
now
that what they're
are-
gonna do?
are
Is that
going
how they
out.
do
Oh,
it?
yeah. That's
Okay.
funny. I had Andy here right after it was announced.
Okay, well, it was cool to talk to them, and I've written about Andy and Sarah since before they got married, so I've known them that long. So it was kind of nice to see them do that. So that'll be up there probably in the next week or so. That story.
Well, I've known Andy since he was driving. When he was a midget driver.
There you go.
Go-karts. I've known him a long time. Good family. They're
Yeah.
really O'Gara's Johnny O and Mont Jean.
Johnny O. I had to call Johnny O. I said I lost Sarah's phone number, and I don't have Andy's, so I don't know why. So I had Johnny O's. That's all I needed.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll give it to you. Don't worry about it, Phil B.
All right. I appreciate you taking the time to come here. Always a pleasure. I don't want you to have to send that back to get it reheated.
No, it's okay. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you listening.
One of the top writers for the IndyCar and IMS, Phil B. Wilson. I'm going to have this young lady come up and join me for a few minutes. But in the meantime, I'm going to remind you that Sam Pierce Chevrolet in Daleville, Indiana is the place to go to where you find the best prices that are in the country at Daleville. And you'll also find out why Sam is always rated at the top of customer satisfaction. When he sells you a car, he doesn't stand behind you, he stands alongside you. You just take I-69 north to exit 234, Go south 1 mile, and on the right-hand side, you will see Sam Pierce Chevrolet. And if you'd like to take a ride in the two-seater, you just go to IndyRacingExperience.com and find a date, and in the promo box put SJ1, and you'll get a 50% discount. Or you can call Shonda at 317-243-7171 and tell her SJ1, and you'll get your discount. If you need embroidery for anything, for shoes, hats, jackets, shirts, whatever it is, Stitches 2 on Gasoline Alley is just south of the Speedway is where you can get everything handled. Give Fran a call. She loves to talk. Her number is 317-271-3444. Is it time to get new insurance for your home, your car, or commercial property? Do what I did and what a lot of people have done. They called Mike Pardee at VP Insurance and Speedway. They're located at 5004 West 16th Street, and he can help you with anything. Let him give you a quote. You'll be surprised you get better coverage for less money. Call him. The number is 317-248-0070. That's VP Insurance and Speedway, 317-248-0070. And if you haven't joined the IndyCar Nation yet, you're making a mistake. You need to join because they got all kinds of benefits. When you go to a racetrack, you can get to flag practices. You can get a two-seater ride. You can get pace car ride. They got all kinds of goodies. So go to IndyCarNation.com and in the promo box put Don K, DONKAY 50 and you get a 15% discount off a Champion or Legend membership. If you are a vintage car fan, and a lot of people, and it's a growing series, vintage car racing, you need to go to SVRA.com and subscribe to the Vintage Racing Quarterly. You'll find some of the cars that you used to see run years ago are back on the track running now and looking as good as ever. So go to SVRA.com and subscribe to the Vintage Racing Quarterly. And the last race of the year for the SVRA will be November 1st to the 4th, the Vintage National Championship at the Circuit of Americas. It's the 1st to the 4th, so if you're anywhere near Austin, Texas, get out there and see it. You'll love it. This next guest of mine is a lady that was here a while back, and she said, I am a huge race fan. I said, okay, that's fine. What do you like? IndyCar? Yeah, I love it. What would be exciting to you, a ride in a two-seater? Well, yesterday she got one. And I want to hear, you got to hear this. This was phenomenal. She'd never been in one. Her husband, I said, you got to get in the car. No, not me. No. But his wife did. Please welcome Joyce Marshall.
Thank you.
Just talk. All you do is talk. Just talk.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Very good.
What's the attraction to racing for you?
Well, okay. I had grown up in Ohio, and I moved to Muncie back in '86. And people at work were talking about the race, and I didn't know anything about it. So the first time I had a connection with this, I listened to a race on the radio, and it was the year that Bobby Rahal won. And we were in Muncie, and I was in Tiard's apartment, my boyfriend at the time, and I just loved it. The crowd was cheering, and it was awesome. And so it was, I think the next year, one of my coworkers gave me some tickets, and we sat on the first turn, and I was hooked. After that, we went like every year, so dating back to '87.
Does your boyfriend still go with you?
He does. He does. We've had as many as probably 13 tickets, and go, and we usually invite friends, and it's always a lot of fun.
Now, you sat in the stands and you watched these cars go by, and you went, wow. Now you got in one.
Yes, I did.
What was it like?
It was exhilarating. It was awesome. I was so excited. I got out and I wanted to go again.
Yeah.
And I mean, everyone who I was watching, because I was kind of waiting on TR to come from work, and everyone who was getting out and they're like, oh, this is awesome. It was better than awesome. It was like the thrill of a lifetime. It was amazing. It was incredible. It was like just the best ever. So I don't know if you've ever had the opportunity or if you've seen people do it, but you need to do it if you haven't done it, because it was great.
Now, is that guy going to do it?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I've always kind of had the need for speed. I've always, like, okay, I have to be honest. When I was a little girl, I was not even driver's age. My dad used to let me, like, steer, and he would do the pedals, and he would go, like, 120 on country roads. And,
Oh.
yeah. And so ever since then, it's like I love it. I just love the speed. I love the thrill. I love, yeah, love it
Now,
all.
What was the feeling like? You know, you sat and watched and you see the cars go by. You don't realize how fast until you get on the track, and all of a sudden everything's going by so fast.
It is,
Wow.
yeah, it is. And you know what was going through my head is like, I can do this. If nobody else is on the track, I could do it. But you get another driver, and I think it's all off after that.
They do have drive yourself cars. You can drive your own car.
Really? Seriously?
Oh, yeah. Uh-oh. I think a second job might be in order now. Did it change your perspective of what a driver sees, what they feel? Because they're going about 180 miles an hour.
Yeah, I can see how drivers would get addicted to it. I mean, it's just, I can see the adrenaline, and it's just something that I can see how drivers would love it, because you get your adrenaline going and things are coming by so quickly, and I can see how drivers would just love it, would fall in love with the sport.
Can you see out at the front of the car enough that you can realize at the speed you're going, if something happens, how quickly?
Yes, yes. And that's why I said, I think I could do this if nobody else was on the track. But I don't know how. That's the other thing that was going through my mind when I was on the track, is that I don't know how they navigate through debris, through drivers having accidents. And I mean, that I can't imagine having that quick of reflexes. That's pretty amazing.
When you're going at that speed through the corners, did it concern you that we might not make it?
You know, when I was first getting in, I mean, I knew the guy who was helping with my helmet knew that I was a little nervous, because I started telling him my life story. But then when I got in and they were strapping me in with like that T-strap, and then they had the bars that came down, I don't know. I just felt like a calm, like I was ready for this.
You were ready for it.
I was ready. I loved it. It was awesome.
And as I'm driving to the track, you were scheduled at 12:30, and I'm driving along and my phone beeps, and I generally don't look, but I knew it was a text. I looked at it, and it was, "Are you on your way yet?" "Yes, they're starting a little early." I went, uh-oh. So I stabbed it a little bit to get there, and by golly, when I come up, I saw Scott Jasek, and I called to him, and we walked, and he said, there's somebody out here that's waiting for somebody. I went around the corner. I said, yeah, they're waiting for the old guy to show up to see this, because I said, I want to see this. This is going to be fun. And, you know, it's interesting that people, you see the cars, you watch the cars, it's fun to watch, but to get in and get the feel of the speed. Now you're going 50 miles an hour slower than they are, but that's probably as fast as you've ever gone in your life,
Yes.
except for an airplane, of course.
Yes, for sure.
You
For
love
sure.
the speed? You like speed?
I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I would do it again. I mean, and my husband knows this. My kids, when they were little, like we would be going from the babysitters to home, and there was one road that we go down, and there was a bridge, and then there was a turn, and I'd get going, and I'd go down the bridge and around the curve, and they'd go, whee! Well, they loved it, and we would do this all the time. And then, unfortunately, one day Tiara was in the car with my kids and me, and we go down the road, over the bridge, around the curve, the kids are going, whee! And my husband's like, what did they just say? Because he had no idea that we were having that much fun on the way home from the babysitters. But yeah, I've always liked the speed, and yeah, so yeah.
So when you two go out, who drives?
Usually,
She makes me car sick.
yeah.
Oh, well, I think it was neat. I watch it, I listen to you when you go out, and I thought, if you got a chance to come over, people don't understand what that ride is like. They think, and believe it or not, in the thousands of rides they've given, I think there's only been 2 people that I know of that have panicked.
Really?
Yeah, they hit a button.
Wow.
There's a button you can push, it'll stop.
See, they didn't even tell me that part.
You see
They
that
didn't even
red
tell
button
me.
in there? It used to be. I assume it's still there.
Yeah.
But somebody's
I
hit
didn't
it only twice. They went around and the lady was in a panic and they stopped and she calmed down and so off they went. Then she said, "Wow, that was great. I don't know what was the matter with me." So it's something really. I mean, these guys, Scott Jasek and Jeff Sinden and Joe have come up with this idea. They drew it out on a napkin of a two-seater. Joe had an idea, or Scott had an idea of something that might be kind of interesting, so they drew it on a napkin, and it's evolved into this. And when I go to a racetrack, one of the things I do is try to get to the motel at night or somewhere and watch the sports news because the sportscasters get to ride it and hear what they say. It's kind of neat. They get in that car and they don't know what to expect, and they go, "Holy Toledo!" So it was fun. It was worth it. I'm glad I got
Yes, it
out there to
was.
watch you. And you got a couple of pictures to
I did.
prove that you
I
were
did.
there.
Yes, I did. I was showing all our friends last night. We played trivia, and I was passing around the photos to everybody, so they all know. Yeah.
And did
have
any-
to show my family when I see them at Thanksgiving.
Did you? Did any of them say you're nuts?
Yeah, they actually did. They actually did. They go,
Did
"You
she
did
talk
that."
about this last night a lot, or was it? It's a good thing you went back to work from here, so you didn't have to listen to it all afternoon. Well, I thank you. I'm thrilled that you enjoyed it. It was. I got a thrill just watching you, and I know your husband, of course. And I said, "Aren't you going to go?" No.
Yeah, no.
No, I said, "Well, is it all right if I come out and watch?" He said, "If you're dumb enough, come on, you can watch." But I have to confess, I noticed he wasn't shaking or he wasn't nervous. He was trying to he wanted to stand on top of the wall and they wouldn't let him to get better picture. But he got down where I got my profile out of the way so he could get pictures of you coming around. So it was good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thanks for sharing. Maybe we should do that. If
We
she
should
can
do
do it,
it.
we can do it.
Yesterday was the last day for the season, so you have to wait till the spring. But yeah, it's definitely worth it.
Good. Glad you enjoyed it. Thanks for telling me about it because I
Okay.
think it's great. Joyce Marshall. Next week, with any luck, my guests will be here. I got a message on Facebook about 20 to 5, 10 to 5, something like that, from Juan Pedrahita, and said, "I'm in Chicago to get my visa renewed, and it's taking. I'm at the Colombian embassy, and it's taking longer than I thought. I don't think I'll be back for your program at 8 o'clock." Well, when I asked him about it, he said, "When is it?" I said, 7 to 8. Okay, no problem. Well, it was a problem. He couldn't get here, so I thank Phil for telling some stories and entertaining, and Joyce for coming here. Next week, if all works out, my guest will be Derek Daly. I said, "I want to talk to him about the situation." I said, "Will you talk?" He said, "Absolutely." He'll be here, and then the anchor for the IMS radio network, Mark Janes, will be here, along with the new color commentator this year, who I thought, in my opinion, did a phenomenal job. The Viking, Anders Krohn, will be here. So, and as I said, we got some upcoming guests that should be quite interesting. So thanks for being here. Thanks for listening, watching. Sing happy birthday to Janine. She needs it. I've been tuning up all afternoon. Me, 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 me. I'm ready. Happy birthday again. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching, listening. See you next week. Good night. Oh, yeah, if anybody wants a pair of tickets for the holiday gift and gift show, let me know. I have 2 pair.
Me. Again? Again what?